In 2022, people from planet Earth will launch a spaceship bound to create a distant outpost of human civilization. A new island in deep space beyond Mars. Aboard the Enterprise flight will be biophiles, a complete genomic representation, DNA of crew members from around the world. Mind files, greetings and vital data from Earth's peoples. And memorial journeys, the precious remains of Star Trek's first family and others from all walks of life. Join the crew of the Enterprise flight yourself, or honor a life well lived with a memorial journey. Reservations are limited and may be secured through Celestis, the iconic global pioneer of memorial spaceflight.
Two down. One to go. Tell me, Captain, where is Smithfield?
Smithfield?
What do you want with her?
RT, is that you?
Where is she?
Why?
Our mutual friend needs her.
Friend? What friend? What friend?
I have often thought upon death. I know that voice. And I find it the least of all evils. Prescott.
Prescott? But he died. Saving us.
Not our Prescott.
"10 years in a Romulan penal colony taught me something, Jack. Vengeance is nothing.
for I am not wrath. I am death.
Hey, oh boy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry if I seem a little flablutz. I've been rushing around doing a lot of things to try to make this show perfect. And as you can see, it is not. Other than the content that you've seen so far, my organization is sucking today. My name is Mark, also known as Marc B, and I will be your host for tonight's Fantastic. That clip was unbelievable, but let me tell you a little bit about Mark Knows Everybody, which is the name of the show. I did not name this show. Friends of mine actually did name this show. And the reason that it's named Mark Knows Everybody is because I just don't focus on celebrities for this show. I, in fact, focus on people who are celebrities in a little bit of aspect there, shall I say. And those are people who are typically friends of mine. I say typically because they always are friends of mine, but I don't know if I can always get them on this show. But they are friends of mine. They come on this show, and only because I want to showcase them and their talent and their abilities, rather than working with the celebrities that I've worked with for close to 40 years, believe it or not. Oh my God, never mind. A long time. Once again, this is Everybody, or Mark Knows Everybody. I am Marc B, and I am happy to have these two incredible guys on this show today. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them up, and we're going to talk about them. But before we do that, I want to give you a little bit of idea of the people that are watching now. Hey, Terry, how you doing? Terry is watching us from Ireland. Okay, we have fans from Ireland who knows this. William Joy, noise. That was unbelievable. And let's see, Mark and Johnny, two of my are my favorite fan guys. Okay, nice to talk to you, Governor. This, as you can see, is our chat room. If there's any questions that you want to ask to our guests, please come into our chat room and go ahead and type around. We are on multiple platforms right now. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, of course. And hopefully I'll be able to see all your comments. If not, I'm going to try and hunt you around. Hey, Rose, how you doing, sweetheart? These guys are incredible. If you look at the background, I always wanted to be part of a Starfleet crew. And as you can see, I'm not as animated as I should be, but this is some artwork from one of the episodes or one of the fan films that these incredible couple of guys put together. So I'm going to go ahead and pop them up on the screen right now. And once again, if you have any comments, any questions that you'd like to make, they all want to appear on screen. So let's make it GP or PG and GP. What is that? Guys, this gentleman you're seeing popping up on the screen right now, his name is Johnny K. He likes to be called Johnny K. I will respect that and call him Johnny K. Johnny, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks so much for having us on.
Oh, no, dude. We got a lot to talk about. We have a lot of material to go through. We're going to get this thing rolling, but one of my very, very good friends who made me aware of something that he has put together concerning this film that you will get a piece of later today or later this evening. This is John Broughton, the incredible. It seems like he needs either a sir or emperor or your highness. Something needs to be put in front of his name. John, how you doing, man?
Great. Thanks for having us, Mark.
Yeah, oh, no, it's my pleasure. It's just absolutely awesome to have you guys on. John, I've had you on this program before because, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's pretty much focusing on my friends who are just incredible at what they do. Johnny and I are meeting for the first time, and hopefully he'll come into my fold as one of my friends. And I like to state that I have quality friends on my Facebook page. So, you know, these are the cream of the crop of the people that I know. What is General saying there too? General purpose. Oh, I got it. Gotcha. Some of these guys know who these folks are. Johnny and John, these are friends of yours. So you may recognize some names here. Do me a favor. I need to plug in my laptop before it threatens my life. How you guys been shaking? Where are you located, may I ask? Johnny, where are you?
I'm in Northern Virginia. I'm right outside of DC, just on the other side of the Capitol Beltway from John Broughton. So,
okay, what's the weather like right now?
Well, you know, it was a snowstorm on Saturday, but right now it's like 65 and sunny. We just got back.
Whoa. Snow. What is snow, Johnny? What? I'm sorry.
You're in Florida, right?
From? Well, you can walk under trees and get a concussion from falling iguanas, but that's actually down in Miami, further south. But yes, I am in Florida. Like I mentioned to you guys pre-show, we evacuate the state when it's 70 degrees or under. Okay, this mass exodus out of, you know, going north, obviously. No, going south, actually. Mass exodus going south because we can't take snow. I used to live in Baltimore. I lived in Baltimore for probably about 30 odd years before I decided that I'm moving south. That's because I got tired of shoveling out my parking spot. Are you still shoveling out your parking spot, Johnny?
I've not left the house in 2 years. I don't shovel anything. No.
I love it. John Broughton, dude, man, where are you still now?
I am still in the Silver Spring area in Maryland. I'm not far from
Okay.
Boston.
All right. So both of you guys are up in Armageddon town. And I'm so sorry. I may go to the beach this weekend, by the way. I think we're going to get up to 90 again. At some point. It did hit 62, 63 degrees, I think, yesterday, but we're 76 right now, and the temperatures keep going up. Okay, enough about bragging on you guys who live in cold weather. This is a very, very important show right now, and I wanted to explain a couple things. The first commercial that you saw is something that I am part of, and that is I am part of a space organization. So what I wanted to tell you guys is that later on this year, in the fourth quarter of this year, we will be doing something very special that I hope the fans, if you're watching right now, and I hope you guys will help me with this.
Absolutely.
Part of my job, full-time, I'm an architect. I design stuff I can't afford, literally. We're getting an influx of traffic down here with people wanting to build houses, and they're driving me nuts. The other job that I do is that I'm a pro moderator at conventions, have been for probably 35, 40 years. One of the big conventions that I moderate is Dragon Con up in Atlanta every year. Mm-hmm. Stanley was a very, very close surrogate father of mine. Loved him dearly, still love him dearly. But I had the opportunity of moderating many of his panels at Dragon Con, at MegaCon as well here in Orlando. And the third thing that I do is I actually belong to a space company. So get ready for this. Hold on to your hats, but this is very, very important. My company actually launches partially cremated, and that doesn't mean half's burned up and the other half isn't. No, but we take a portion of cremated remains and we shoot them into orbit. We shoot them into space. There will be something that's going to be hitting the news in a few months, shall I say. I can't tell you exactly when. That's up to the major news agencies, but I can tell you guys now, and if you have not been to my Facebook page, if you haven't spent time seeing anything on my pages, if you saw the video that I played in the beginning, we will be launching the cremated remains of Gene Roddenberry, Major Barrett Roddenberry, and Jimmy Doohan into deep space. This will be, I think at the time that we do this, because we have 4 launches this year, one from New Mexico. We have a site in New Mexico, and then we have a site on the Cape. And but this will be a Cape Canaveral launch on actually, this is not a SpaceX Dragon Falcon. I forget already. Nonetheless, so if you guys want to help me put together a documentary focusing on that, please hit me up. But in the meantime, we're going to push that to the side and continue with these incredible guys and what they do. John is going to help me with the Gene Roddenberry launch as well. He's going to contribute what he can contribute. But we will talk about that at another date more in detail. I just want to go ahead and tip you guys into something that's coming up soon. But the reason I brought that up in the first place, because it's Star Trek related. These gentlemen are Star Trek related. In fact, they are incredible producers for fan films. The fan films that they have done recently focus so far on the USS Farragut, which I will turn that over to John in a minute to explain more in depth on what we're talking about. But if you don't know anything about the fan films, okay, that John and his team put together, stay tuned to this station as we speak, and you're going to see clips, you're going to see videos, you're going to see pictures, the whole 9 yards. But let's go ahead and talk to these guys. John or Johnny K, and you guys can chime in. Can you explain to us, give us a little bit of a background on Farragut Films and what the USS Farragut is all about? Who wants to go first?
That's a John Broughton question if I've ever heard one.
Okay.
Hit it, John.
All right. Farragut Forward. You're familiar with our Legacy Starship Farragut web series. We were on since 2005, and we closed out our finale last year. We are now branching out into what we're referring to as the movie era of Star Trek. So Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, The Voyage Home, those movies, we are branching out in that time period. And as a result, we are building entirely new sets, wardrobe, all new, props, all new. Everything that we're doing is essentially all new. And we're even using physical filming miniature models. But we're continuing the tales of Farragut, but set in the movie era.
Well, that's incredible. Let me ask you, it's set in the movie era, and I see behind you, obviously, the uniforms that were used, starting with Wrath of Khan, I do believe.
Yes.
Why did you want to take it into that era and not, I can say the area previous, but I'm looking at Star Trek, the motion picture, which is all different uniforms, all different kind of script and whatever. What made you want to take it into the movie era, starting with Star Trek 2?
Probably because it's the best Star Trek film ever made. The motion picture, I have got a lot of new love for the film, but I always fell asleep watching the film.
Okay.
But
go ahead, sir.
I've got love and respect for the motion picture. We wouldn't have been able to have The Wrath of Khan had it not been for TMP. So I guess it was more of a style, but just the love and admiration of that film. It was such a great story. And including that trilogy, if you will, from Star Trek 2, 3, and 4. It was just a great book set of the movies, and Star Trek 6 up there as well. But it was something that when we were working on The Crossing, which was the big mirror episode, I think that was our 1.5 hour long film that we made. Even when we were doing that film, we thought that would be our swan song. And so I had already began the footprints of Farragut Forward. And we then made Homecoming. And then right after that, we saw that film. If you hadn't seen it, at the end, we kind of segue into the movie era. We show the new ship and we kind of leave it at that. And so this new chapter for us, we've got some new characters. You'll see a lot of the old ones. You'll see a lot of different ships. You'll see some of those people spread across the different ships. But we're now able to tell new episodes of Farragut, but set forth in the movie era. And just as a lot of us are about the same age as the original crew. So
hey, not me, buddy. Let me ask you real quick. How does Johnny K play into this? I like to bring him on and talk a little bit about who he is and what it is that he does. But how does he play into all of this?
Okay, and now that'd be a good segue for Johnny. So a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2018, 2019, he made his own film, The Killer of Grassy Ridge. I saw it, and I thought the guy just, for his first film, he hit a grand slam. And then his second film, he had my son in it, The Red Eagle 1. And I observed him as part of that film during production. Then I started, so I forgot to mention, Mark. So I had tabled after in 2015, 2016, we tabled, yeah, it was 2016, tabled totally Farragut Forward, just scrapped it. This was the year that the fan film guidelines came out, of a lot of stuff going on politically. Just, I was burnt out, just tabled Star Trek and fan films altogether. Flash forward some years later, Johnny is making his own movies, and I observed the products that he was putting out, and I just started to think about Farragut Forward. I had some of the uniforms already done, and so I wrote a small little treatment and kicked it over to Johnny and asked if he would be interested in doing it. And I'll let.
And he had
Okay. Go ahead, Johnny.
He had me at
Follow that.
He had me at 2 words, Mark. He got me with 2 words, and those words were movie era. That's how he got me. So if it was,
you're easy.
I am easy. I'm really easy, actually. But yeah, the 60s Trek stuff, I respect it. I love it, but it wasn't what I grew up with, right? I grew up with the movie era. I grew up with Wrath of Khan and everything that came after that. Next Generation, DS9 is my personal favorite. And I just kind of grew up with that era of Star Trek. And when John gave me, the script of what became our 3-minute prologue that we put out there, I had no problems like visualizing what I saw in the script in the movie era of Star Trek. And I'm like, oh, this is, it reads really cinematic. And I told John, I said, if I do this, like the first thing I'm going to do is turn the lights down. This is not going to be, our joke was like, this is not going to be your daddy's Farragut. This was going to be a little more, a little darker, a little edgier, and just really try to recreate, maybe what the bowels of a stinky Klingon ship might really smell like, and just kind of make it a little atmospheric and go a little darker with it. And John was, he was on board with it. And as soon as I read it, I saw it. I joked with John the other day, I went back and forth on whether I wanted to kind of commit to it because I had a super full plate, but knowing that it was only a 3-minute piece, I knew we could shoot that in a weekend. And the other thing that was crossing my mind was, I don't want to see somebody else make this. Like, I want to make this. So there's a little bit of greed and jealousy. I didn't want to see somebody else's version of what I saw in my head when I read the script. So I jumped at it, and we made it happen. We kicked off pre-production on that all through the summer. John and I met a few times, and then brought the full cast together for a table read. And we ended up shooting it in October, and we had scheduled it to shoot for 2 days. And we actually ended up cramming all of that into one 12-hour, very long day. And that was the end result. So here we are.
Okay, now all of this filming was done at the studios in Kingsland, Georgia, which I happen to be going to see this Saturday morning. I'm driving up from Orlando to take a look at those studios. And how are you responsible for that, John?
Well, the original sets and these sets that we're using now are up here in the Washington, D.C. area. But the ones that you're going to, that you'll be blessed to see, are the Kingsland. They were the sets that we built initially for Starship Farragut. And actually, the first Studio One for Farragut Films was located in St. Mary's, Georgia. We had a smaller bridge part, and we had the sets, the key sets, like the transporter room, captain's quarters, shuttlecraft, the corridor, and a turbolift. Then we moved to Kingsland, about 10 miles down the road, and in a 10,000 square foot warehouse, Mike Bednar, my father, and a whole bunch of other guys faithfully recreated all the sets from the original series as it was laid out on the Paramount lot over 50 years ago. And I mean, you talk about a faithful, there was no other, I mean, other than probably what's, I mean, other than what is up in New York, Ticonderoga, there's no other replica like that.
Well, I'm excited to see.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, my bad.
Finish up, we were working with Vic Mignogna, and we were in a partnership. And then in 2015, we sold the sets to him, and we closed out Classic Trek. We filmed our last episode there.
Well, in a second, I'm going to show you guys a behind the scenes clip on exactly what John is talking about. But before we go that, I have to go back a little bit to your past and what you've already produced, which one of my favorite, and I think the most brilliant recreation of an original series I've ever done or I've ever seen by a fan I have seen recently. And if you guys really don't know what I'm talking about, you need to look over my shoulder. Okay. And I want to ask John, how the hell how is this possible? How did this come about? Please, sir, tell us.
Oh, you're talking about the animated episodes. So
absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. No, I'm not talking about the animated episodes. I have no idea what you're talking about. But if you think it has something to do with being drawn incorrectly, or, I think that's you right there on the far right, right?
Yeah, I can't. The credit goes to Michael Struck of NeoFX. He was he always wanted to do the animated. And in 2008, 2009, we started to work on this. And Michael Struck of NeoFX and I flew out to Burbank, and we met with the Filmation president, Lou Scheimer, who did.
Oh my God, my hero!
Yeah, he was great. We went up to his Burbank home that overlooked all the valley and all the homes. He was right at the top, but he gave not only an endorsement, but he also did a voice cameo in our episodes.
You had a legend. You literally you recruited a legend, which, I need to bow to you on that one, sir. You literally brought up Lou Scheimer. If you guys don't know, for us 70s babies, basically, when Star Trek the Animated Series came out, it was from the same production company, Filmation, that did Tarzan, the animated series, did Batman, the animated series.
Yeah, Batman.
Lone Ranger, the animated series. My God, I even think they did what was the space cowboy who had the horse that was a robot that talked? Brave Star.
Right.
Brave Star, the anime. For us, like I said, 70s babies. I was born in the 60s. Yes, I'm 22. But this is just absolutely freaking phenomenal on this. And Johnny K, is there anything that you can add to this piece of art that these guys have created?
I could Photoshop myself in as an animated character just to your right. That's what I want to do. I want to have a cameo in the animated series. So I'm going to get my Photoshop and dust my skills off.
The hard work's already been done. All you want to do is just go in and use Photoshop so you can be a part of the production. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
You'd better believe it. And I'm going to eat all the food. I always hang out at the craft services table and eat all the food too. Those are the two things I'm really bringing to this, I think.
You got it. John Broughton, if you need a contract agent, I'll be glad to handle all of your affairs for, people. You don't have to pay people. They can pay you. Hey, guys, I want to show you guys this behind the scenes clip that I was given by John, and I have not had time to watch it. So we're all going to watch this for the very, very first time. Once again, this is Mark Knows Everybody. These are my good friends, John Broughton and Johnny K, and they are the producers of FARRAGUT Films, and they will be talking about a new film that's going to be coming up. And hopefully we can see it a little bit. We actually saw a little bit of it in the beginning, but I think I'm going to replay that again for anybody who's dropping it on us kind of late. You're going to be very, very impressed at the production value. And I'm big into script writing. I'm big into script execution. I'm big into the overall effect that a film has on me. And that's how I gauge my movies in terms of review levels. So take a look at this. If you're not used to seeing behind the scenes of any show, any production that's put out for your enjoyment. Take a look at this and see what we got here.
I'm John Broughton, executive producer of FARRAGUT Forward. I also play Captain Carter from Starship Farragut, one of the longest web series going back to 2005.
One of the things that made Starship Farragut really great is we didn't try to recreate other people's characters. Farragut was always about our own characters, our own stories.
We did everything that we needed to do in classic Trek, and so it was the perfect time to segue into the movie era.
His idea was maybe we'll just do film like a couple of minutes short.
It was just going to be a kind of a teaser to put it out there.
It was never the intent to do anything more than just a teaser. I started to see the work of Johnny K, and Johnny was interested in doing it.
I jumped at it because it was very atmospheric, it was very moody.
We kind of talked about the vision of where we wanted to take it.
I knew I wanted to go a little deeper and darker than some of the fan film, pieces I'd seen previously.
It's fun to go back and do something we did before, to revisit it in a very serious, very dark fashion. This is a dark story.
And I knew if we did it right, it would look really, really good, and then also set up our story for kind of the next episode of what's to come.
Next steps. I've been working with Paul and Johnny K in terms of the story, getting the three brains together. That brain trust is really telling the best story, I think, for Farragut.
We have a lot of story to tell in a short amount of time. It's very character driven, I can say that. We took special care to make sure all the characters had something very important to do. It's new challenges, it's new sets, new costumes, new logistical nightmares.
And so we're moving forward. We've got a crowdfunder that's active. We also are in full swing doing wardrobe. We are making more Monster Maroon uniforms than what they made for the initial Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Fans can expect to see probably the most fast-paced, drama, character-driven episode of Farragut.
I'm really excited for the challenge. It's a great story. Longtime Farragut fans are going to love it. Also, I think it'll be a great jumping-on point for new fans too.
Of all of our portfolio work, I think it'll be our best effort to date. Felt great to be back in the uniform and ready to do this.
Wow. Folks, just so you know, towards the end of this broadcast, we're going to actually show you a 3-minute clip of this upcoming new production, which is Farragut Forward. And I beg you to hang around and watch this. I have watched it, and I really look. I'm a fan of Star Trek Continues as well. I think the production value on that is incredible, as well as the production value on just a little bit that you guys have seen so far. Hold out for that. We're not that far away from looking at that 3-minute clip. It's well worth the wait. I watched it 3 times. So hang in there, but let's just talk a little bit about what in God's name, it's a Wrath of Khan. How should I say, sequel? It's not a ripoff. It's not a.
No,
what is it, John?
It's Farragut's revenge story. It's our Moby Dick story.
Okay, I'm gobsmacked. I'm just so I want to see.
But there's a lot of. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think we brought in some subtle nods to the Wrath of Khan, but it's our own tale. Just like The Crossing was an original alternate take on the Mirror episode of classic Trek.
Right.
We always, even from the get-go, we were always trying to tell original stories, and this one is no different. But I think this one in particular will be our very best. As you said before, the script and story, we spent 6 months just working on that alone, going back and forth between Johnny, Paul, and myself.
This is discussion. This is it's not after filming. It's what you guys want to film and how it should come out on screen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Johnny, Johnny K, what was your input? Is there, and I want you to be teacher on this, grading a paper. Okay. Once you got the script and you read through the script, were there any subtle or actually massive changes that you came up with that you wanted to run by John? And did John accept all of your revisions?
Yeah, I'm lucky in that respect. I don't think John has ever shot me down on anything I've brought up. I'm pretty careful with his baby. You know, he's been driving this '57 Chevy for 15 years, and then he hands me the keys and tells me not to wreck it. So I'm being pretty careful with his baby and being respectful of the source material. Yeah. So the script, I think when I first got it, I mean, we knew, and we're not going to give away spoilers here, but we knew it was going to be a rescue mission. You know, when you watch the 3-minute prologue, you see Captain Carter and Captain Tackett are in a pretty bad spot. And obviously the next piece of the story is going to be how do we get them out of that bad spot? So we knew it was going to be a rescue mission going in. We knew very clearly, you know, it was a 3-act structure. We knew what those 3 acts were going to be. And when I first saw the script, I got it. I think my biggest contribution, and John, you can disagree with me on this maybe, but I think my biggest contribution is I was really making sure all the characters, even the minor characters, had something very important to do. It's always, you know, much like Star Trek is about the big 3, you know, Kirk, Spock, McCoy. I think Farragut has always been about the big 4, you know, with Carter, Tackett, Smithfield, and, you know, obviously Prescott now in a different light. And I think one of the biggest contributions I had was really looking at those other minor characters. And I shouldn't call them minor characters because they're pretty damn major in this. But the characters who aren't the typical, you know, big 4, I really wanted to plus them up, give them all, you know, equal weight and give them something to do. And I think that was kind of my biggest contribution, is fleshing that out. I probably added a pretty big battle scene at the end that might have quadrupled.
Whoa. La, 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 la.
Oh, that's no spoiler. I mean, you can imagine what Act 3, this is, Mark, we're making one of the biggest Star Trek fan films ever made. So I can tell you that Act 3 is not going to go out with people taking a nap on board the USS Farragut. Like, it's a pretty climactic Act 3, and we may have quadrupled the budget with some of my changes to the end of that. But what do you think, John?
You know, I'm so, look, if you kind of, you know, like need a, you know, Admiral type character for your next, you know, film, you know, anything like that, I might be available. You can, okay, look, we are broadcasting on a number of different platforms. Okay. For some really weird reason, I cannot see all the comments, but they're rolling in like crazy. So I'm going to have to read them off. Some that are totally directed at me, I'm not going to read, except this one does say, Mark Lee is the bomb. You should ask him about his father dying at Kittimer. Okay. All right. Timothy Buddy Boy. Yes, my father died at Kittimer, and I'm still pissed about it. Some of these people are saying I was born Klingon. Just saying. This is Justin Schuyler Daly. I'm sorry. Get out of the way, screen. This is Justin Schuyler Daniels, if those names mean anything to you guys who are popping in. But nonetheless, these are people that are, if you guys want to comment, please come in right away, and you can get popped up like Governor Murlock here about certain things. We're shortly away from watching this trailer for the Farragut Forward project, but in talking about the project itself, John, you obviously have, I want to say, what are we calling it these days? Crowdfunders, fundraisers, whatever we're calling.
Well, I like what Johnny, I think Johnny's mother calls them crowd beggars.
Crowd
beggars.
Probably
a more accurate description, because that, when you're working it, that's how it feels. It really feels that you're.
Okay, so let me ask you. You are crowd begging, and regardless of that, when you have fans who contribute to something that they themselves love, I don't think it's you begging; it's us saying, "Please, more, sir." So before we do that, I'm typing a banner here for you. Where should they go if they want to participate in this crowd fundraiser right now? What are we looking for? Tell me what to type.
It's Indiegogo, and then
whoa. Spell that first one.
INDIEGOGO. IE Indie.
DOGO. It's your own page, and okay, Indiegogo.
Indiegogo. And it's from there. Just search for Farragut Forward. I don't know if it's / Farragut Forward, but
Yeah, if you Google Indiegogo Farragut Forward, you'll find it.
John, you're a lousy salesman. I'm just saying, you're terrible at this. So I'm gonna add this to the screen here, and hopefully you guys can get some sort of Indiegogo search for Farragut Forward. How's that?
Here,
guys, if you're a multitasker like I am, you can watch this and go and support these guys as we speak, because the little bit that you just saw will get a little bigger in a few minutes. Okay. And it will definitely, without a doubt, give you a reason of contributing, 50 cents, $1, 10 million bucks, whatever you got in your pocket, throw it at these guys, because we don't want this to be the end. They've put out an animated series, for God's sakes. Who does that? But let me ask you, Johnny K, and I'm sure you're not a first timer in fan films, of course. In terms of Star Trek fan films, what have you seen, in all fairness, in comparison to Farragut Forward, and or better or less? What have you seen? I don't want you to be slamming anybody, of course, but
right.
Tell us what it is that you've obviously have seen that has impressed you.
Yeah, I would never slam any filmmaker, because you know what? Filmmaking is hard. It is hard. It's expensive. It's a second job for those of us who have first jobs. And so I'm not slamming anybody else. But the honest answer, Mark, is like I knew very little about fan films before I came into this with John. I knew that John had been entrenched in that world for 15 years. I never had a lot to do with it. I attended some of his premieres at conventions locally over the years, so I'd seen episodes here and there. I knew very little about it outside of Starship Farragut. I've never seen another fan film. I've never seen another Star Trek fan film outside of Farragut. Now, when you know what our story is and what we're getting ready to do, I had some homework that I needed to go back and look at Starship Farragut when we started making the prologue last year. So I really wanted to find out everything I could about those characters. John gave me kind of a quick list of the Starship Farragut episodes that I absolutely had to watch to do my homework before we made the prologue last year. And I went off and watched those. And of course, they were excellent. But otherwise, I have nothing else to compare it to, because I've never really been involved in the fan film world. And to be honest with you, I kind of see that as an advantage.
I agree.
I'm not, I always hear about kind of the drama that's happened in the past. And I always compare myself to like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. You remember when Harrison Ford is at the end of the tunnel and he's like, I didn't kill my wife. And Tommy Lee Jones just says, I don't care. Like, that's always kind of me with some of the drama that's happened in the other, the fan film stuff over the years. Like, I don't care. Let's, we got a story to tell. Let's go tell it. So I kind of see it as an advantage that I'm kind of the outsider coming in from outside the fan film world.
Wow, that is an incredible story. I appreciate your honesty and your frankness on all of that, and the fact that you mentioned and I'm kind of it's really weird. I've been a Star Trek fan for as long as I was young enough to or old enough to understand Star Trek when it was on, because I am a 60s baby. But I'm kind of on a fence in terms of fanaticism, and some people might consider it as a bad word. It can be, but it really isn't when it comes to your hobbies, your loves. If you're fanatic about something you love about, that's probably a good thing, especially when it comes to television series, the execution and the production of television series, and how they affect you. And the fact that, Star Trek has affected us, it kind of all in different ways, but relatively all in the same way. To have guys like this, Johnny and John, come up with not allowing our love to die by feeding us more. This is a great time to be a Star Trek fan. With so many Star Trek shows that are on, I mean, there was a drought at some point, probably after the films went away, when we were looking for television series, and the Next Generation, all this kind of stuff came around, and we went gaga over it. And it just fueled the fire for our desire to see anything Starfleet, Klingons. Cardassians wasn't around when we were growing up watching Star Trek, but Romulans were, Tellarites were, and other beings that we are seeing being reproduced. Have you guys seen the new Ferengi look in Discovery, John and Johnny K?
I haven't watched any of the streaming content.
Aha!
I'm a big fan of Picard. I love what they're doing with Picard, but Discovery officially lost me after 3 seasons. I've not checked in for season 4. I'll admit that. So.
Understood. There's enough out there for all of us, and we can't all like them all. But that's a fair take. But you did say your love for things that are currently on, and that's great. I'm actually a fan of Lower Decks. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that when I punted 5 years ago on Star Trek and fan films, Discovery had not yet. I don't think maybe it came out, but I didn't watch it. And then, so last year, literally, I just, in the summer, I just got back into Trek. But from all the things that I've seen of Picard and Strange New Worlds, I mean, I am going to check those out.
Yeah. I'm digging Picard this season. There's only been 2 episodes on. Thursday is the 3rd episode, and I'm really digging it. But if we all kind of fall back, first season of Classic Trek, TOS, was not actually the greatest. First season of TNG was actually not the greatest. It seems that things got better as they went on, which I'm glad about that, because they didn't go in the opposite direction. Much like Picard. Picard was good first season. I got it, a little convoluted, but this season is really kicking butt. If you fell off of Discovery, that's okay. That's all well and fine. There's a lot of information, a lot to take on, but I'm digging that as well. Like I was saying before, I'm a fan of Lower Decks. I really like Lower Decks, and it really takes a strange kind of humor to actually like Lower Decks, to be honest with you. And I actually do. So we're getting a lot of Trek. Strange New Worlds. Oh, speaking of strange, I can't even talk right now. Speaking of Strange New Worlds, while I'm talking, I actually want to show you the promo for that while we're still staying on a Star Trek bent here. But in terms of FARRAGUT Films, I see that you did send me a link, John.
Yes.
Let me ask you guys a little bit about the actors that you've chosen for the roles in your films. How did you come about that? Where did you find these people? Did they in fact come to you first? John, I'll let you start on that.
Well, it depends on the episode you may be referring to, but we try to, it is by definition a fan film. So most of our cast are Star Trek fans in some form. And then from that, others came about who were not necessarily fans of Trek, but knew enough about the subject matter and could act. So it's kind of a toss bag in terms of the cast that we have. Wes Johnson is on board. He plays an important character, and he's the official voice of the Washington Capitals. He's been on many video games, to include 2 Star Trek games. He even played a Klingon captain opposite Patrick Stewart's Jean-Luc Picard in a video game, and he's going to be great. I think a very memorable character. Another memorable character that we have is William J., who plays the Klingon that you saw who was interrogating me, my character. His name is Koloth. Is it Koloth?
Koroth.
Koroth, thank you. A name derivative of Kor and Koloth, as nods to classic Trek. He did an outstanding performance, and I think we'll be seeing much more of him in the FARRAGUT universe. The Dale brothers that you saw, the 2 Klingon guards, in 2014, yes. I approached them. I think it was at the Shore Leave Convention about this exact thing. And they were able to actually, it all materialized last year, and they were great to work with. I mean, if there was a specific character you were thinking about, but most of it, to your question, I think most of the people were fans of Trek, and they had some form of acting experience. Some didn't, but that's how that came about. And other professionals came about through word of mouth. Stanley on the last one, and Dick Diesel, also known as Captain 20, and Count Gore Duvall.
Oh my God! Yes, I grew up with that guy.
Yeah,
that's absolutely. Can I ask you a question about your wife then? How is your wife's involvement in your films, and what has she done recently?
Initially, she was involved. She was involved in our teaser trailer back in 2005. She was in the first film. She was in the animated episodes, and she wasn't in some of them because she was having our children and tending to them.
Yeah, that will do it. Yeah.
So that, but last year around November, I approached. She was going to be in this film. Wanted to bring Moretti back to the Farragut. November of last year, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, was rolling up on the 30th anniversary, and she works with a guy, Derek Rutledge, who is in DC. He's also okay, you know Derek.
Yes, I do.
He well known to doing celebrity makeup, and he always works with my wife Tanya, and always refers to her as his Amon. And it got me thinking. Last year I was thinking about, December is the 40th anniversary of Star Trek VI. Why don't we do an homage photo shoot as Tanya as Martia? And so we did that. It didn't happen until last month, I guess, February. And so Johnny saw that, and he's like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have her!" And that was great, because I just thought it would be a nice nod, and maybe we might have gotten some indirect publicity towards our Indiegogo, but she will be in it, and now she has the character. Actually, not only will be a nice Easter egg, it actually has a purpose in the story.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Let me pull Johnny K back up here, and I'm going to ask you guys something before I go ahead and play that clip. And by the way, I think, John, you might have to send me the link for that clip again. That kind of dropped me while I talk to Johnny K. Just send it back into my messenger, and I think we'll be good on that. Johnny, what are your hopes for Farragut Forward? What are you looking forward to happening with this, and probably your continued relationship with this entire production?
Yeah, I mean, my hope is, the one thing that we have that not everybody else does is the script, and John and I talk about this a lot. We get consumed with costumes and set building, which is no small task, by the way. And, we always kind of get lost in the makeup and the special effects and the visual effects and the sets and the costumes and the armrests. The script is awesome. Like, the story is fantastic. And when you just spend some time reading that script, you realize, like, all the great places it kind of goes and the opportunities it's going to give a lot of our actors for some of those roles. So my hope, and I think we can pull it off, I'm pretty confident. My hope is that it becomes the greatest Star Trek fan film ever made. And that's a pretty big statement. But when you see the script and you kind of see the scope of the story we're telling, and the production design that we really want to put on this, my hope is that, it's right there among the top Star Trek fan films ever made, if not the best. And that's kind of my personal hope out of all of this. So we'll see if we get there. I think we can, though.
And okay, so let's go ahead and go with some details on the film. What's the running time for this, for Farragut Forward?
I think the script is around, what's the script, John? It's in the neighborhood of 50 pages or so. So we're probably looking at, maybe not a 1-for-1. You might be looking at 45 minutes of screen time, depending on the edit. And it's going to be in that ballpark.
Wow. That's great. That's actually perfect, because I'm not sure if Discovery is running around that length, but I'm sure typically for resale values, you shoot under an hour in order to leave room for commercials if it went to networks, and so on. So I think you guys are right in that neighborhood, if not a little over. Boy, William is really, really a huge Klingon fan.
That's Koroth, Mark. That's our actor that's playing the Klingon role, Koroth. So William has seen the script. He's in the small community. Hopefully, he doesn't violate his NDA by uploading the script into the chat or something like that.
What? Don't do that unless these are lines that he actually are uploading. Upload more, William. Upload more. Anyway,
Klingon's woot woot is not in the script, I don't think.
Oh, really? Klingons are not allowed to say woot woot, man. That's racist. I'm just saying that because that you not allowing them to say woot woot. Come on, Klingon lives matter. Okay, I can say that.
Oh my God.
So, their lives matter too. Yeah, it's interesting how you describe the proposed or assumed smell of a Klingon bird of prey or any kind of vessel like that. I'm assuming you obviously have firsthand knowledge on just from filming. You have all that leather. What do you tell us a little more, Johnny K?
I was going to say, I'm basing my assumption on what a Klingon ship smells like based on our set where we had 15 sweaty people in there for 12 hours. We got a pretty accurate. We're all method actors, so we like to stink that place up as much as.
Oh God, man, you don't need to be that method. Good God in heaven. No Febreze around or nothing. You couldn't just say occasionally, go, just shoot it in that direction.
Yeah, we should. We probably right. They probably have Febreze on Starship somewhere. It's probably just a different name, but it was a tight space, Mark. When you look at the prologue and you look at that little prison cell we shot in, like it's not like that was a small corner of a bigger room. I mean, that was actually the size of that room. It was a tiny space, probably 10 foot by 10 foot. And when you pack the actors in, I think we had 5 actors in at one time, and then you pack another, 4 or 5 crew in on top of that. It got pretty confined in there.
But yeah, I'm sure you had, you have to be compliant with mask just mainly because of that. So I totally get it. I totally dig it. You guys, I'm rifling through some images right now. Johnny K, that's not you.
No, that's Mike Quigley.
Oh, okay. Ah, there he is. Okay. I'm rifling like some past productions that Farragut Films have produced. If you guys have not seen any of their work, well, you have. If you're a true Star Trek fan, and I shouldn't say that. In all honesty, I'm kind of assuming that you're not a Star Trek fan, but just because you don't look at something or like something, that's not fair. I should practice IDIC pretty heavily here, but nonetheless, I recommend these guys work very, very highly. And if you just look at that bridge, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I would like everyone here, I would never disparage any production. It is a huge feat to make a film and a lot of work that goes into it. I think one of the things that always differentiated us, other than other film groups, when we initially started, now there's an oversaturated fan film market, but when we first started, I didn't want to do Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. To me, at the time, only William Shatner could play Captain Kirk. Only Leonard Nimoy could play Mr. Spock and DeForest Kelley as McCoy. And I think we always took that route because, to me, when you watch it, you don't have the emotional baggage of trying to do the comparison of somebody else's Kirk. I mean, nobody knows Captain Carter. Nobody knows Commander Tackett or Smithfield. So there's kind of this, but you know enough about classic Star Trek that you can just kind of go along with the ride. And to me, it's like nothing more short of CSI and CSI Miami, or CSI, what is it now in New Orleans?
Yeah, sure.
It's just another spin-off, but in the same universe, if you will. So, and to the point of the new movie that we're working on, I was thinking back when we were filming the Briggs sets, and as Johnny pointed out, it was a very confined space. But to his credit, as a filmmaker, he leveraged the space and the walls, and it's all about what you get on film and what translates. And he has a great eye for being able to take an innovative approach to maximize the space and make the room look much more bigger than what it really was. One of the things that I noticed when he was filming Red Eagle 1, he leveraged a backdrop and he used a prime lens. The subject was in focus, the background was not in focus, but you couldn't tell that you thought that the background was really part of a ship, that it had all the equipment and the walls of a spaceship. He also used a flat screen monitor with the talent in front of it and filmed some stuff. And I'm like, I think you can do some innovative things as a filmmaker as it relates to fan films or other films and be able to get some great effects, some great footage.
Yeah, it's incredible what you guys have done, but breaking this down into props and so, you wanted to stay true to the original filming process of that era, shall I say, ILM era, before they were
ILM. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before they were CGI, savvy. You used obviously models for some of your filming processes, some of your ships. Is that true?
That was my worst idea ever, I think. I
There
told
you go.
John, like,
Here
John,
comes the story. Hold on,
here
folks.
comes pop the popcorn. Get the popcorn out. One of those pre-production meetings John and I had, we were thinking about all these callbacks we could do to the movie era of Trek, just little things, like even the titles and the credits and the fonts and the lighting, just all these things as a callback. And I mentioned to John, I said, I also threatened to shoot this on film, by the way, get rid of digital and let's just shoot it on film. And I got vetoed on that one. I'm glad I did. But what I did not get vetoed on, I told John, I said, we should really use practical models for this. That's how they shot Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock and, all that old, just golden era of Star Trek, not to mention Alien and Spaceballs and, just name it, Star Wars. Just go down the list. Like the practical models are amazing. And I mentioned that to John. I said, we should really, it's a one ship shot of a bird of prey. It's a simple shot. We just pull out on the bird of prey at the end of the picture. I said, we should not do that CGI. Let's try doing that with a practical model. And John, jumped at that and said, oh, that sounds great. Because I really did want to kind of pay tribute to the old days of Star Trek and the old days of using ship models like that. And of course, I just had no idea how much work that actually would be. I'm not a huge CGI guy. There's beautiful CGI out there. And I see Sam Cockings is here too. And he's one of those guys that's bringing a lot of that beautiful CGI to the Star Trek fan film world. But I just personally, for me, I wanted to kind of take a crack at filming with practical models, just as an homage to the old days of doing things and the ways that dinosaurs do things harder to make their lives more difficult. And I know moving forward, we're probably going to end up having more of a hybrid approach with some CGI in there alongside some practical models.
It's okay. I'm cool, but we all, within the same age group here, the generation, shall I say, we grew up watching the backstories of how George Lucas filmed Star Wars and the battle sequences there, and all of that was model. Even when they tried to do something that wasn't model based but computer based, such as the chess game with Wookiee. I'm sorry, listen to me, with C-3PO and his Wookiee friend there. There is some necessity to CGI. I think even stop motion animation, even though that's a little outdated now, I still think there's a place for it. The fact that we're going to see solid models used the way old school was done, giving homage to the filming of Star Trek, the motion picture, and The Wrath of Khan, I think is absolutely brilliant, because as fans and seeing what we're into right now, that gives more of a love for what you guys are doing, the attempt that you're making, and the work that's all involved. Yeah, we know we'll never, as us the fans, won't attempt what you guys have done in terms of modeling, the lighting of the modeling, the shadowing of the modeling, the painting of the modeling, and all that kind. Hell no. Sorry, we're lazy now. We're not going through this when we can just done. So hats off to you for taking it upon yourselves to actually do it like they did it in the old days, man. That's old school. And my God, congratulations. I applaud you. That's absolutely fantastic. And yes, your friends here online are I think they've done a fine job, and I haven't even seen the movie yet, Interfleet. So you keep the great Dijkstra, by the way, Dijkstra was fantastic on that era. But that was a brilliant take on that, Johnny K. I really appreciate you coming up with that. John Broughton, and we're going to get right to that movie as we close out, guys. John, not to the whole movie, of course. You're going to see that clip again we played at the beginning. John, how do you feel overall with the whole production team? I mean, it's easy to compliment people and say they've done a great job. You see it in award shows all the time when they're pulling out their piece of paper and they're boring the hell out of us, the viewers, because we know you're naming off people you're paying, for one thing. And in my opinion, that's not legitimate. How do you feel about your team, your cast, the overall result of the film? How do you feel about everything and everyone responsible for FARRAGUT Forward and the previous films? How do you feel about that, John?
Well, I would, speaking from my point of view, this has been the best experience that I've had in a very long time. Probably the only thing that can compare it to would be The Price of Anything, which I think is the pinnacle of our classic Trek series. So this has been a great experience for me. The team that we've assembled now, there's some new players, there's some old players. Everyone is performing well. We've got a lot of ambitious goals. I mean, our sets is one. So we're working to get that all done, as well as filming all done this year. But it's been a very good experience. And lastly, I would say that if anything, the last two films have taught me is that you can have all the great sets and costumes and everything, but if you don't have a solid director and cinematographer, I mean, you're just wasting your time.
Wow. Johnny K?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm just excited about the whole process and just recreating an era that we all love. We're not, the blueprint is already there. Like, we know the vision, we know what we want the final product to look like. I think it's just a matter of lining everything up. John mentioned the sets are critical. We don't want to, can you film a Star Trek fan film out in the woods or in a rock quarry somewhere? Of course you can, but we have to have those movie era Starfleet bridges. That's really what we're kind of prioritizing right now with set construction. And again, it's worth mentioning again, Mark, a lot of the 60s era fan film stuff, a lot of those are shot on pre-existing sets that have been around and been built for a long time.
Exactly.
Built by John and some of his team for previous fan film projects. Everything we're doing right now, I mean, we are stepping into the undiscovered country, if I can use a bad joke.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't know if that's a dad joke. It's a bad joke.
No. It's very good. Very well placed. Very well placed, buddy.
Everything we're building right now, we have to build it because it doesn't exist. And, can we go the virtual set option? Can we shoot the entire movie on a green screen? Sure. And we might have to do some things like that, but I didn't want to start there. I want to start with the goal of actually building these sets with the same attention to detail that these guys built the 60s era stuff. I want to see that. I want to walk on board a Miranda class bridge from the movie era, That's what I want to walk on and have it lit up perfectly. We can go to the green screen as a safety net, but let's don't start there. Let's go there if we need to.
Hey, you got a couple great questions here. Let me do this first with comments that came in while you guys were talking. Your friend here said I did 110 visual effects shots for the feature Trek film First Frontier, and have done about 205 space shots for the Romulan War. So much hard work and ships and battles. LOL. Wow. William J says 205 shots in all quality. Of course, Interfleet goes Power 543 fan films. Wow. Question. Do you hope to bring in any other alien races in film 1, 2, or 3, or stick with Klingons and humans? Oh my.
You will.
Oh my. I said oh my. I added that. Sorry.
You will most certainly see other alien races besides Klingons and humans.
Wow, that's cool. What was the big teddy bear in Legends of Tomorrow? Phoebe, help me, guys in the chat room. But I love to see that alien come to fruition. The big stuffed alien bear or whatever that was a giant at some point. Guys, come up with a name for me. The next question was all a tease, but do you have hopes to do more complex makeup since you have a very high quality?
More complex makeup.
Well, even if we had to think of any existing Star Trek aliens, for lack of, another go-to, but Star Trek aliens that had complex makeup. You've done Andorians, right?
We plan to. We did in the old series, but we are planning to do one, and it would look like the movie era. Johnny and I were just talking about this the other day, where the person would not be wearing a wig, that it would be their real hair just made white to make it look more realistic.
Right.
There are some, what do you call them? Animatronic Andorian antenna out there on the market. That's a level above. That's the extra step right there. If we can have some animatronic Andorian antenna.
I was about to say, just ask the same thing. Make them operable would be a huge step and an applaud on your part.
I mean, they exist. You can buy them. They're out there. And
really?
Yeah, you can get those, and it's just a matter of messing with it. But it always, with filmmaking, it always comes down to, is it worth the $800 we're going to spend on that, or can we cheat it with wires on the day?
Yeah.
So
But have somebody on the floor behind them with two wires just yanking on his head for a little bit. You know how it goes. We can cheat some stuff. I would love to have an expressive Andorian that can show you his or her emotions. With the antenna. That's kind of a personal goal of mine, I think, for this. Yeah, I like for you to try first episode, or they call first episode, the salt monster. If you could do a big little facial thing here over the mouth to emulate that. But since we are 2022, I'm assuming you could put some animatronics in those multiple lips as well and make that work. I don't know. I just want to spend your budget. That's the only reason why I'm talking smack.
Let's get the bridge built first, and then we'll put in your big fluffy teddy bear, whatever you want in there.
Yeah. Interfleet's got a good suggestion. Interfleet says tribbles. Yeah, let's animatronic tribbles. I think they're going crazy right now. And why am I not playing the Andorian? William, I said I could be an agent for any of you guys, man. You need to
probably end up being 3 or 4 characters in the film.
Is he really? How many parts does William have, and how do we kick him off this broadcast here? What is he? He's just Klingon right now.
He's got a. It's not a spoiler. We've got him a cameo.
No spoilers, please.
We've got him a cameo as a human character in there too. I think.
So I think he's bucking for a raise, man. He's really showing up a lot on the screen here. Here's the last question from your buddy. Okay, last question. Smooth heads plus ridge head Klingons ? Both exist. Would love to see both in movie era Klingon costumes. Well, yeah, smooth. Uh-oh, somebody's humming in the background as spoiler
No,
alert.
we're not mixing. We had a couple people. We're not going to be mixing the two. To me, that I mean, you never saw in any of the movies any of the. I mean,
John, you're just racist too. Okay, I just want to put that out there. You know, you don't want to mix the races at all. I mean,
no, the Klingons
just,
exist, but the Klingons look very much different. To me, they don't. They don't cohabitate the same. The ships don't look the same. The costumes don't look the same. They are.
Okay, you know what, John? I'm calling Al Sharpton on your ass because this is getting really deeper.
Hey,
just
Mark,
so you know.
Mark, it's a good thing this isn't live. Can we edit that out and post before it goes out to the world?
I'm gonna Photoshop your face over top of John's, Johnny K. That's what I'm gonna do. You know, John doesn't exist, you racist bastard. You're supposed to use idic. Anyway, so yeah, who is this young lady here, please?
That is my daughter, Ava.
Absolutely beautiful. Great job. Did she beg for this role?
No, no.
She have to buy her a Tundra or something like that.
I had to Zelle her some money.
Is that what you're using now in the Zelle stuff?
In the Cash App. I get Cash App invoices from my daughter. So
I see. Yeah. I'm sure she has script changes as well that she's demanding, right? I would never say that. You know.
I thought it'd be nice. William Shatner had his daughter give him a logbook in Star Trek V and as a nice cameo, and I thought something similar.
Walk on role. No lines. You want them to be seen, not speak. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, at present, I don't think that we have anything in the script for her, but I mean that could certainly change. But just, I think she'd be happy just to be, in it and, not have to say anything.
Okay. All right, man. They're really turning you in right now.
She was the first man Yes. Yeah. True that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something a little bit here. Indie films, when they first started, I'm gonna tell you, and I honestly can't remember. Hopefully you guys can remember the first indie fan film that you saw. And indie, I'm not sure indie was even around then. It could have been, but excuse me if I'm mistaken on that. But Star Trek related, in terms of your love, can you guys post up if you can? Pat, you're still here. William, you're still here. All you guys, if you remember the first indie fan film that you have seen, we'll wait for you because we're actually 20 seconds ahead of what you guys are hearing now. So give us some idea. I just want to know what indie films were around, or even indie films that you actually liked a lot, appreciated. We want to give, props out to those guys that produced this as well, because, these indie films are very, very important to us. We can't sit around and wait 2 years for the next you fill in the blank sci-fi movie to come back out again. And these guys have taken the reins. I do remember back in the day when CBS didn't like that. I think CBS and Viacom, speaking of John and Johnny K, have you ever had any feedback from the suits at all? And I say feedback lightly. I'm using that term lightly.
I've received a lot of feedback indirectly from the people that were a license holder that said that they respected the fact that we respected their intellectual property and we didn't try to use the Enterprise Delta. We never used existing footage. We never used, to some degree, we tried to stay clear from the Enterprise and Kirk, but the fact that we're doing our own thing, and to the extent that we have, we've gotten acknowledgments, kudos, if you will, for doing that.
Excellent. Good to hear. I'm not saying that, people need to play by the rules, but, a lot of, we're fans. They ventured out on their own to give us more quality entertainment in the best fashion that they could provide. And it just has grown in terms of professionalism. I'm a big fan of script writing. You have to write something that I'm not going to presume during the course of the show. In other words, the butler did it. I don't want to get there. You got to shock all, surprise me with things that I didn't think of. You know,
well, I can, if I can, on that note,
yes,
you're looking at one of the great storytellers that I've ever met. He has
you
the
talking
ability.
about you? You mean Johnny K?
I'm really.
I don't know who I'm looking at.
I'm gonna do a Cash App invoice to Johnny here in a minute. But he has a very good ability, based on his first two films, of taking you down one road and then flipping the script and having you, misleading you. He has a really good ability of doing that, and I think we've watched so much content over the years, movies, films, and TV shows, that, being able to foreshadow that no one's interested in that. We like to be, as we like to be entertained, we like to be surprised, and so he has a good ability of that.
Yeah, well, that's great. It is a team effort, and you're only as good as your strongest link, I think, in anything that you do in life. And the fact that you have brought on Johnny K to your production, only to, make it better, shall I say, for lack of a better word. I'm reading some of these that popped up, and we're going to end this shortly, but I'm going to miss that one from your friend. Oh, here it is. Very lovely thing to do. I also bring my dad into my films. He makes me write him in, but I love him, and it makes his day. That is absolutely fantastic. Good job, dude. I got to meet you, man. Find my Facebook page and let's talk. But that's fantastic. You guys, so that I don't keep you too long, we've already done close to 90 minutes on this show, and it doesn't matter with length, but the good thing about web videos, webcasts, as I like to call them, there is no time limit until people just get tired of talking. If I had more guests on here, it would have been a longer show. We didn't need more guests on here. We have the two proper guests that need here to push their wares. And I really don't want to, even though I said it, I really don't use that term, push their wares. They are delivering to us an incredible gift, and that is the gift of their gifts to produce fan films for people like me that don't have a freaking clue that we're doing. And I think I'm gonna need them for before I sign off. I want to mention this real quick. I'm going to need them, and I am recruiting people because I am doing a show between now and September. I have no idea when it debuts, but the space company that, like I mentioned in the beginning, that I work for, we are. And I think William asked me this. He said, I thought we already sent up the ashes of Jimmy Doohan. Yes. We do not send up total cremated, and I'm jumping ahead here. We do not send up the total cremated remains of any individual. They're given to us in portions. You can see my finger here. They're literally about that big, and they're loaded into the capsule. So real quick, I want to use John and Johnny K. I'll give you more information about it later, but we are launching cremated remains of both Gene Roddenberry, Majel Barrett, and Jimmy Doohan into deep space. We are actually putting them in a perpetual orbit, a non-degenerating orbit around the sun, where they will be interned in space forever. We have done 20 flights of this nature from two launch sites that we use, one in New Mexico and the other here at Cape Canaveral, where we have literally launched people into space. But this big one is going to make the news. So you guys are getting early news on it. If you have not seen any of my trailers, which I'll play one of them at the end again. I need help. I'm not a documentary kind of guy. I'm a show host. I stand on stage and run my mouth. But in terms of production value, I already have Neutral Zone Studios in Georgia who has signed on to use the bridge of the Enterprise, where we will be starting off our documentary on this memento. And this will hit the news hard in a few months, but you guys are getting a lot of pre-information now, and I'm telling you. I will also be joining Gene, Majel, and Jimmy on board that flight, but in the form of my DNA. My DNA will go along with them and will be there, and your DNA can as well. If you go to our website, celestis.com, celestis.com. Go poke around, see who we've already sent up in space. But here's the other news. On the way to sending Gene, Majel, and Jimmy out into deep space forever, we will be making a side trip. That side trip is we are dropping, and I say we, and I'm talking about we are cargo, we're payload on this trip, but the rocket that we're on, which is by a group that fails me right now, on the way, before we send Majel, Gene, and Jimmy out into deep space, we are actually dropping off a lander onto the surface of the moon. Okay? Now, you'll get more news about that later. But one of our other flights does include, we're actually going to intern the ashes of about, I'm going to be wrong on the number, but I'm going to take a wild guess based on the past. We're actually going to place, and this will be in the news too, so here's early news. We're going to place 150 souls on the surface of the moon coming on, and I think that flight is before Gene. Gene's flight, Gene, Majel, and Jimmy's flight is called the Enterprise flight. The rocket itself is a Vulcan-style rocket. The flight is going to be called the Enterprise flight on their journey. When it has been received to us that they are now in a permanent orbit around the sun by NASA and Mission Control and whatever, the name then changes to Enterprise Station. So Enterprise flight to Enterprise Station. Go to my website, find us, celestis.com. You'll get more information. But right now I'm planning, Johnny K and John Broughton, a memorial show, okay, depicting all of that, but it's fan-centric. I repeat, fan-centric. As much as I would like to ask my celebrity friends to be a part of this, this is about us and what Gene has meant to us. So what I'm actually asking from a lot of you real quick before we end the show is a 20-second clip. If you can, find me, ask me more, a 20-second clip for you to film to tell us what it is that Gene, Majel, Jimmy, or just Gene alone, if you want, meant to you. That will be played, those clips that we choose, will be played during this broadcast, which John and Johnny K will be a part of, but it will also be played at the memorial service at Kennedy Space Center before we load the family members onto buses over to the Cape to watch the flight of Gene, Majel, and Jimmy. A lot of information to tell you. I'm focusing on these boys right now, but I need to get this started right away because this documentary has to be done long before, in case anybody wants to purchase passage on the rocket. So that is part of why fans are so valuable, why fan films are so important, because it is us that those people have entertained, and those people include Johnny K and John Broughton. And I want to give back to the fans to make it just us, guys. It's the fans. This is what we should be involved in. The celebrities have had their chance. They stand on stage doing conventions, and I've, hosted hundreds of them. It's our turn. So I want to turn this into just us. So we are filming portions of it on the Neutral Zone studio set, and I'm going up to do a scouting tour this Saturday in Georgia. And our filming is actually May 7th. So actually, if you want to come May 7th, you want to come to the filming, uniform or whatever, contact me, let me know you're coming, and we'll work something out. In the meantime, all I can say about you guys is that you are absolutely off the hook. Your mothers should be proud of you, your wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, sons, daughters, because we all are proud of you, and we need people like you guys to keep us entertained. You have done this to us. We are showing our appreciation to you. I personally am showing out my appreciation to you by bringing you on so that people can see who you are and what you need. It is very, very important that we contribute to these guys, to their crowdfunding. Please, guys, it's never too little what it is you have to give. I don't care if you get a penny, give a penny. Money is money. They need this operating costs. Johnny K, you guys want to say anything in respect to what it is I just mentioned, any part of it?
What comes to my mind is, number one, like bravo with the space stuff. That sounds amazing. And I want to, keep in touch. And like, that's absolutely amazing. I got my SpaceX cap on tonight. I'm big into, crewed space and what's going on right now in the world of space. So everything you just said I'm on the edge of my seat and I want to know more about it. And I'm going to go find out more after we get done. In terms of Farragut Forward, something that John and I talk about a lot is, it's tough times right now for a lot of folks. If you can't donate, to make a Star Trek fan film happen, we get it. But what you can do that we ask, share it, share it left and right, scream about it, stand on the rooftop and yell about it. That doesn't cost anybody anything. So the more, you can help us broadcast the signal and share our Indiegogo. I think we're down to our final 20 days right now. So it's not like you can come back to this and do it 3 months from now and see how we're doing. This is the final 20 days. We're getting ready to launch into our final push. And the final push is going to be pretty big. But even if you can't donate, please help us share it and get the word out there.
John?
Exactly what he said. If you can't, we understand. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. Things are a lot different than they were 5 years ago. But what we are doing, we are building new sets and new costumes. This new project has never been done to the extent of what we're trying to do. So as Johnny said, if you can't give, please promote and spread the word. The wider the net, the more fish we catch. And that's it.
When do you guys expect? I may have asked you this before. We've talked a lot. My apologies. When do you guys expect the release of this film? Obviously, you're looking for funds so you can continue it. Is that correct?
Correct. And there is, we do have a 3-film story arc, if you will. I mean, obviously, we're focused on just the one, but we do have greater plans that would allow us to respect the fan film guidelines, but allow us to do our own trilogy, just like Nick Meyer and Harvey Bennett did with Star Trek 2 through 4. So that's something to consider as well, that, it's not just a one-off. If things are successful, we would like to be able to do films 2 and 3, leveraging the existing sets and costumes.
Wow, I can't wait. And like I said, we're going to sign off with this portion that I've already shown, which is the 3-minute clip, isn't it, John? What I showed, the prologue.
Yes.
Right? Okay. You're going to get that. I want to thank the folks in the chat room, the people that are popping up, your friends who have popped in to say hello. Anyone that's watching, I know we're on other platforms. There were probably comments there that I can't see for some weird system problem here. But if you have, please go to their Facebook page as well and just, say hello and I'm here to help. What can I do? Much like, the request that I'm asking, I need help for something I've never done before. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not a script. I like writing, but I don't write. It's really weird, but I like doing it. But I'm going to attempt what I'm doing for Gene and Majel on my own. But I really need some help. Find us, Facebook. Find Johnny K. Johnny K, you are, I'm trying to find your studio name again. I know I had a clip up here with it. Is it Karaoke, or did I say that right, John?
Let's go with Karaoke. That sounds good. I'm going to change the name to that. That sounds better. It's more memorable. Yeah,
I'm just glad. I'm just glad you didn't punch me in the face. So yeah, okay.
Gas is Mark. Hey, Mark, gas is too expensive for me to drive to Florida to punch you in the face. So I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is too expensive. But these guys. Johnny likes to be called Johnny K. Although I put up his full name. So if you want to track him down, you got his last name now. So John is the great John Broughton. What can I say what this guy has done? This has been, in my opinion, fabulous for what I've heard from you guys so far. I'm really happy that you allow me to bring you on board. I think we made some traction here on, on what we did. If we could ever have you guys on again, don't hesitate to ask. We'll build up. If you got more clips that you want to show, even if it's a show on past FARRAGUT film stuff, we could do that and show some clips. But in the meantime, I appreciate you guys joining us. It's really important that you guys. I'm gonna get on the fundraiser as soon as I hang up with these guys and go ahead and contribute my $10 million. I know you guys can top that, but Johnny K, thank you guys.
Thank
you. Guys
you.
were,
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you back. And
bravo
you guys,
on your space project.
Oh, dude, you guys are a part of it. I need your help. So
Definitely. More money.
Get rid of this guy, okay? It's like he's picketing. All I can see in my mind right now is a Klingon walking around on the sidewalk in front of your house. More money for Klingons, more money for Klingons, but you guys are doing some classic stuff. I can't wait until you finish. We're going to go ahead and sign off with 2 clips. Of course, this first one, I'm going to show you guys what I showed you guys previously, and then we're going to go ahead and end with the FARRAGUT clip. Thank you guys for joining us, by the way. I also host a show called Saturday Morning Cartoons every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., where we focus on classic cartoons, guys, stuff that you ran downstairs in your pajamas and got your bowl of cereal to sit down in front of and watch. This is what we do every Saturday morning. It's a different show, different topic. We also do classic television Smackdown every other Friday, where we do classic TV shows from when we were growing up, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you name it. We cover it. And of course, this show here, Mark Knows Everybody, where I try to focus on my friends, just bring them to the spotlight and let's talk about them, because that's the only thing that's important. So thank you guys. Have a good night. Go eat your dinner. And here is our promo for the Enterprise flight that we're doing. And then you're going to go ahead and see that clip for FARRAGUT Forward. So here you go. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
In 2022, people from planet Earth will launch a spaceship bound to create a distant outpost of human civilization. A new island in deep space beyond Mars. Aboard the Enterprise flight will be biophiles, a complete genomic representation, DNA of crew members from around the world. Mind files, greetings and vital data from Earth's peoples. And memorial journeys, the precious remains of Star Trek's first family and others from all walks of life. Join the crew of the Enterprise flight yourself, or honor a life well lived with a memorial journey. Reservations are limited and may be secured through Celestis, the iconic global pioneer of memorial spaceflight.
Chris. I need you back, Captain.
No matter how many stars there are in the sky, no matter how many galaxies swirl beyond our own, no matter what the mathematical probabilities or the number of times we say, we are not alone in the universe. Our first visit from the stars was always the province of children's stories and science fiction. Until one day, it isn't.
Two down. One to go. Tell me, Captain. Where is Smithfield?
Smithfield?
What do you want with her?
RT, is that you?
Where is she?
Why?
Our mutual friend needs her.
Friend? What friend? What friend?
I have often thought upon death.
I know that voice.
And I find it the least of all evils.
Prescott.
Prescott? But he died, saving us.
Not our Prescott. "10 years in a Romulan penal colony taught me something, Jack. Vengeance is nothing.
For I am not wrath. I am death.